So I was asked a really good question. It was like 5 paragraphs. At the end of it were reference videos for me to look at to get context. And it was very, very well worded. I was impressed. They proceeded to reach out to me on Instagram as well. And that was very persistent. And I appreciated that because it wasn't just, oddly enough, hey, can you buy me a Nintendo Switch? Which I've gotten before. But it was, hey, I have a budget of $500 to $600. I would like to purchase one of these next gen consoles, but I don't know which one to purchase. Is it better for me to get a Nintendo Switch, a Steam Deck, an Xbox, or a PlayStation? Specifically, one of the more newer options. Please, I would love your input and break it down for me. And I thought, yo, if you spend that much time with 5 paragraphs, including references to your points in other videos from other creators, I'm going to give you a video. And on that note, if you guys ever have questions, please ask them. If there's one that's going to be something I could have a 25 to 30 minute conversation about while I make my cup of coffee and drink it, then I'm going to do it. I think that'd be fun. And so before we hop in, we got coffee to make. I got a new coffee that I haven't opened yet. And so we're going to open that up, see what we got here. Verve Coffee. I think they're in Colorado. I like Rwanda's. Rwanda's are good. We're going to, crack into this Rwanda. Awesome. Honeydew, passion fruit, and lemon. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit brighter. That's going to be something we're going to want to deal with. So if it's brighter, that means that we're going to want potentially to make it a little bit, I wouldn't say coarser because it under-extracted, make it sour. Let's make it a little bit finer. Let's play with it that way. Over-extract, I don't know. So then we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And we're going to stick with 13, which is the minimum that they would require for a pour-over. And so we'll stick with that, and we'll keep it kind of fine. Ooh, this should be fun. All right, so $500, $600. I want to preface it by saying that really, if you're going into next gen with something like a Steam Deck, a PlayStation 5, or an Xbox Series X or S, $700, I guess, would be closer to what you would want to work with controllers and stuff. You know, so, but since you're not, and your budget is 5 to 6, we're going to ditch 7, and so we have 6. And whenever someone gives you a budget of, 4 to 500, that's the budget, right? Top end gives you a little more wiggle room. And so I'm sticking with the 600 number. Sticking with the 600 number, I'm going to assume you're in the United States because it's easier for me to make these examples. And in doing so, I'm going to assume that the tax is the highest we'll find, which is somewhere around 9%. So we're going to say that $550 is really what you have to deal with. And so that's 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 50. 550. Great. Okay, so we have 550 to deal with. And we're going to put that right there for the sake of explanation. And for those of you, I don't want you to freak out. This is fake money. I bought it as a prop for a thumbnail. Which I thought was a pretty cool thumbnail personally, but, Okay, so let's start 550. Let's start ourselves out with Nintendo Switch. And I think it should be said that these aren't, I'm not going to say you should get this. What I'm going to say is this is what you get with this. And at that point, you can make your decision. I'm not going to mention who asked me this because I don't know if they want me to. But you can make the decision once you have kind of my opinion on each option with the given amount of money that you have, $550, which I don't think is a bad amount. I think that you could get some good stuff there. So let's hop in. First, we have Nintendo Switch at OLED is the obvious option for $350. So $350, so there's 50, and then 1, 2, 3, leaves us 200 to play with. $200. I'd say that you absolutely want to get the expansion pack with your Nintendo Switch Online service, which would be I believe it's $50. I could be wrong, but let's just say it is. I know $70 is the family, so $50 would be the singular. From there, you have $150 left to purchase a couple games. I think that you should buy the expansion pack, which puts you at, you have $100 for the not expansion pack. I think that you should get not the expansion pack, the vouchers, which give you 2 games for $100. But if you live in the United States, you go to Costco, you can buy eShop money $100 for $90. And if you buy $100 for $90, then you're able to get yourself 2 games for $90. Those 2 games should probably be a single-player game and a multiplayer game. I would say something like maybe Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, one of those 2, because I like those games. You can get something else. Mario Odyssey is great. Some of these longer, higher content level games for the single player application, and then multiplayer. Gosh, I honestly, Mario Kart I feel like is the big value play here, especially with all of the courses. You get so many courses with the expansion pack, as well as plenty of content and fun with friends. Now, I am a huge fan of Mario Kart. Holy cow, that smells good! Oh my gosh, I'm a huge fan of Mario Kart. So that for me is more of a biased opinion. But at any rate, you would be able to get both of these games for those vouchers, right? They are first-party Nintendo games that you would have to purchase with those vouchers. So there are a few, a good amounts that are available. I don't have them all listed, and I'm not going to list them all for you. You can look them up, but there's that. That leaves you with, if you do the Costco route, that leaves you with $60. I think with $60, you should purchase either, it's up to you. If you're cool with the handheld situation that you get with the Nintendo Switch, which is perfectly fine, it's not terrible, but if you're cool with the handheld situation as well as the Joy-Con in the sled that comes with it, you don't need to buy another controller. I personally think that purchasing another controller is worth it. I think that the Nintendo Switch Pro controller is a great option because you get all of the different supports there, but you have $60 left. And so, I think that, let's just do it. Let's just say you're going to go over a little over budget. You can go first party, you can go Nintendo Switch Pro controller, or you can go third party. You can go 8-bit DOE Ultimate Wireless Bluetooth controller. There you go. That puts you about $5 to $10 over budget. Unless you're in a state that has good tax laws, then you have the money right there, and that should pretty much round you out. If you don't care about the controller situation and you're perfectly okay with the current controller situation when you have your Nintendo Switch, then you can apply that to a third game. And there you go. There's the $600 or $550 rounded out Nintendo Switch purchasing option. Now, let's go Steam Deck. Steam Deck is a little bit crazy. I have to look it up, because I don't remember the exact Steam Deck prices. But Steam Deck is a little bit crazy because you have some options here. Now, we're going to assume that if you're buying a Steam Deck, you already have a Steam Deck library, okay? That's something that we are going to safely assume. If you already have a Steam Deck library, then not Steam Deck library, a Steam library, not Steam Deck. Look at me, just can't do 3 things at once. Then it's a tough one because I owned the 256 with extra memory, with a faster internal storage for $529. But for $399, you have 64, and then you can buy a micro SD card $399, $400. That leaves you still $150. You can buy a micro SD card, which you're gonna need anyway if you purchase the faster one. And micro SD, I would say you want to get something closer to a terabyte or 512. And the price point on that is, as it stands here, $40. So $40 plus 400 is $440. That's leaves you still about $110 to purchase some games. And Steam is known for their crazy sales. They have plenty of sales all the time. And so you're probably going to find a game relatively affordably. That's not English, but I had to do math on the fly because I forgot to reset my scale. This is going to be intense. So that is the price of that with the micro SD. Now games you purchase, the price point in games is going to be all over the place because I don't play that, and I don't know a lot about the Steamdeck library or the Steam library, but I know I think I bought Borderlands for like $10, the full Borderlands suite, Borderlands 3 situation. So you got plenty there. As far as extra controllers are concerned, it doesn't seem like you're going to need one. I guess you can purchase the Steamdeck dock or a third-party adapter / dongle, which works just as good for another $30 to $40. So we're still under $400 here. So $400 plus $40 with that SD card plus $40 to $50 with the dock, whatever ones you decide to get. So we're at still. Let's round down. Let's say we're at $480. So we're at $480 as it stands. $170 $70 to play with. I think you can get a few games. The thing with the Steam Deck though is it's a computer, so you can emulate if you want to get into that. You can do all that sort of stuff and be perfectly fine. And within reason, right? Because emulation is its own bag of tricks that you have to deal with. So that's the Steam Deck one. I think that those two, knocking those out of the park, we have the real conversation, which is Xbox versus PlayStation. This is the one that I think has a lot of weight to it, because if I had $400 to $500 to spend on these consoles, I think this should be said about the Nintendo Switch, which I forgot to say. Nintendo is not. I don't know anything. I am not. I don't follow trends, leaks. I don't follow rumors. I hear about them, but I do not track them closely. I do not try. Oh, he said this, and he's been 75% accurate. Here's the deal. The Nintendo Switch is old. It has been around for a while now. It's safe to say, without any leakers, it is very safe to say that we are circling the drain when it comes to the life cycle coming to a close. And so if you are going to make a purchase, I would say that it's good to take that into consideration when it comes to you purchasing your Nintendo Switch. And maybe for the Nintendo Switch, you go Nintendo Switch Lite and save yourself $150 and just keep that money in your pocket. That's also an option. PlayStation versus Xbox. We're going to go PlayStation first, and then we're going to go Xbox. Because with PlayStation, it's a little bit more difficult to fit within that budget. And with Xbox, it's easier to fit with that budget, but it comes with some caveats. PlayStation. We have the current generation of PlayStation, which is $400 for a digital version and $500 for the disc drive version. The digital version is great, and the physical version is great because they are both the same version. You are playing the same hardware. You are just dealing with the ability to use a disc and the ability, or not the ability, to use a disc. Now, with someone who is on a budget, that might not be the best when it comes to purchasing this system, because if you don't have a disc drive, then you are limited to purchasing games digitally at sale price or full price, and in most instances, you're going to be dealing with full price. I forgot a mug. With digital edition, you have yourself a little extra money in the pocket. Okay, you have your PlayStation 5 and you have $150 extra dollars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Here is what you have to consider. And again, I am not necessarily the biggest fan of digital only, but that is, oh, wait, what am I thinking? Spend the extra $50, wait, and get the new one. So you get $450. There, that's it. That's the play for that one. The new one, $450 for the digital only one, and then if you want to add a disc drive eventually, when you have a little bit more of a budget, you're good to go. Boom, $450 set. Okay. Now, Now, again, it's not. I know there's tax, but remember we factored in a tax with our overall budget of $550. So we have $100 to play with. A couple things you can do. You can get a game, or you can spend $80, which you're going to have to spend on their online service, which grants you access to a great deal of games. You can also go monthly. Now, we have two ways of looking about this. We can say that we're just going to go monthly with either of these services, and omit them from our overall budget and factor in the $15, $16, or I believe it's $18 a month for the PlayStation. I'm not looking it up. Let's just say it's 16 and 18, and just factor that in. So then we're going to go top tier premium. You have a lot of games to choose from. You have a lot of first party titles to choose from. If games like Ratchet and Clank or Returnal or Ghost of Tsushima, which you'll have to purchase, Final Fantasy 16. What the hell did I just drink? Okay. Where's that bag of coffee? Oh. That is good. That is oh my gosh, dude. It's not perfect. A couple adjustments I need to make. Okay, back to the video, sorry. That's great. That's so good. Okay, so $100. You got games like Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 1, which is accessible to you, Spider-Man 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn. These games are, you have access to a great deal of them, as well as, they're available for purchase. They're on sale from time to time. Good to go. I'm not going to lean into two things. One, I'm not really going to talk into the third-party gaming experience when it comes to the PlayStation or the Xbox, because it doesn't matter. It is the same. You're getting the same game. Sure, you purchase a game on Xbox and PlayStation, they may give you an extra skin because PlayStation does this and Xbox does that, whatever it may be. But I'm talking into exclusives. What is the roadmap for exclusives on the PlayStation? Well, let me tell you. Final Fantasy. Wolverine. And that's something that we know, right? The roadmap for PlayStation isn't big. It never is. They never come to the table and say, here's 40 games we're going to give you. They don't do that. They just don't. But you have to come at it from the perspective of, are the games that are locked to the system and exclusivity games that I want to play? So much so that I would say no to Xbox. And so I think that is where we're going to now go into the Xbox category. But to sum up, PlayStation, I would go digital, new digital release, if you can get your hands on it, $450, and then use the money that you need to get the online service and play those games, and you will still have $100 to play with to purchase a game or two, depending on the sale, or if you go into like a GameStop or get it used online. Nope, you can't do that. Sorry, you don't have the physical edition yet. So yes, you'll have $100 to play for some games online on sale. There's plenty of sales. Black Friday's gonna have a bunch of sales. Or you can purchase yourself a second controller if you need to, but I don't think you really need to. The DualSense controller, I think, is the best controller this generation as far as immersion. For me, I love it. I love it so much. I have so many of them. Oh gosh. In fact, I make them with X Gaming. Let me show you. This is their Hyperion. No, Hyperion is a different one. I just moved this table. This is their Ultimate controller. I made this with them. By making it, I mean I chose all the colors. It is wood and then this beautiful, waves in the style of that like Japanese tattoo that I've always loved, and then some what they call sakura pink, and then the back is clear with these back buttons. This is $190 by them, and it is now at flat $190 unless you do trigger shots, which removes the adaptive triggers and puts just clicky buttons, which I have one of those as well. If that is something you're into, I believe that this is the coolest thing because it is the closest that we can get to customizing our controllers for our PlayStation 5s. Unfortunately, PlayStation doesn't offer customizations like Xbox does, and so this gets us the closest we can. Now, $190 is a lot of money. It's a lot. It's still $10 cheaper than the DualSense Edge, but this doesn't come with all the features the DualSense Edge comes with. It does have 4 back paddles that are programmable on the fly, but it doesn't come with some of the different features like, adjusting the trigger depth and different stuff like that. This is still a first-party controller. They take a PlayStation 5 controller and mod it. That's essentially all it is. And I have a few of those. I like them a lot. As I said in my last video, I can't recommend any of this. It's a lot of money. I personally like it and I use it. Would I spend $190 to do this? I think that maybe, but if I was going to spend $190 on a controller for my PlayStation 5, I think I would probably just go the DualSense Edge because of first-party support with some of the extra features like adjusting the sensitivity of things within that application. So, that's that. I do just think that they're so beautiful, and some people are like, that's the ugliest controller I've ever seen. And to them, I say, you have no taste. I know, I just think it's cool. I pick it up, and I'm like, oh, man, it's cool. It has waves on it. And then my controller I use for, like, Fortnite and Call of Duty is, like, flamingos. So when I, win, I just go on with flamingos. It has, like, grips on the back, nice and textured. And then these buttons, that's it. There's a little click, 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 click. Those are my 2 controllers. And as some of you have picked up on, I primarily play a lot of my next-gen games on my PlayStation because I have an Xbox Series S, and if I'm going to want to play a game like Jedi Survivor, which is available on both platforms, that's why I use that as an example all the time, I'm going to want to play it on the system that offers me the best fidelity because I am playing it on a TV, such as the LG C2. Does that mean that PlayStation is better than Xbox? In my given application, having a Series S and a PlayStation, yes. My PlayStation is going to have a better experience. Does that mean that Xbox as a company is failing? No. It means that I don't have a Xbox Series X that is going to give me that same experience that I would be getting on the PlayStation 5, because that is the comparison. Series X and PlayStation 5, you get the same experience. The problems that I run into are I'm not the biggest fan of all of the exclusive games that come to Xbox. And I am the biggest fan of the exclusive games that come to PlayStation. And someone in my comments was like, oh, it's just another pony who's mad. Dude, first of all, that's funny because I own all of them. Second, I don't really care what console does what. I have over a couple hundred games purchased through the years of redeeming free games with the PlayStation Plus service on my PlayStation. And so if I'm going to invest money into a console, I want it to be on the one that I have the majority of my games purchased. And so for people who are already owners of Xbox and are like, should I get a PlayStation? I would always say yes. And the reason why I say yes is because I think everyone should own all of them if you can afford it. If gaming is a hobby that you have money for and you're going to be able to spend that money on that hobby and you can afford it and it's financially responsible to do so, I think that owning all 3 is great. You have access to all the games coming out. That's pretty awesome, right? And then, there's always that, what about PC gaming? It's the best. I don't play on PC, so I can't tell you whether it's the best. I'm coming from my perspective. But if you have to choose one, I say stick with whatever you've already started to have. Unless there are games you really want to play on the other system, then there you go. There's that. But if you're sitting here going, I don't know which one to buy. I don't have either of the others, or it doesn't matter to me. Then we've just finished PlayStation, went on a tangent, and now it's time for Xbox. And I'm going to sum up the past 2.5 years of coverage of the Xbox Series S in the next few minutes as I finish my coffee. If you had $550 to spend on gaming in 2023 going into 2024, and Xbox was the one you choose, I would spend $350 on a Series S. But you're not asking me what I would do. You're asking me what that money can get you. So for $350 with the Series S and $16 a month, which we are choosing, or $17 a month, now I forget, whatever. We're choosing to omit. We are not considering that a part of our expenses, and we are just assuming that that is going to be something that we do. And I guess with the Nintendo Switch, you could do that as well. Although with the Nintendo Switch, most people purchase it annually, so I guess that is a purchase. Whatever. We're just going to stick with what I'm talking about. Then we are with the Series S, you would have $200 of wiggle room to do quite a few things. Purchase yourself some games. But Xbox does something pretty special where you don't have to purchase that many games for your Xbox. Because Xbox grants you access to a lot of games that would be considered current gen games through Game Pass, which is really, really cool. I personally haven't found a lot to play, but there are good ones. Lies of P is a game that blew my mind and has surprised me, and I've been enjoying playing. You have, of course, the Halo series, as well as Halo, which includes Halo Infinite. The Gears series, the Forza series, with new ones to be added. As far as Forza is concerned, Gears, I'm not too sure. I don't think there is, but people want it, right? People want it. And plenty of other first-party titles that will be added. Oh, Starfield. First-party titles that will be added to your gaming experience day one. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. $350 gets you in the door with a Series S with 1 terabyte of internal storage. You can, if you are planning on riding this down till you die, you can opt to get the $500 option for the Xbox Series X and have the best Xbox gaming experience that the market has to offer you with $50 to spend on your choice of one third-party exclusive that you potentially can't find within, not exclusive, a third-party game that you can't find within Game Pass. I would say as far as all of the options are concerned, with the exception of potentially the Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Switch is a cheaper base edition, but the trade-off for that is you're getting potentially last-gen hardware. It's such a tough one to purchase. It's such a tough decision to make if you are trying to purchase just one of these four. Because at this point, the Steamdeck has been out for a while, and we might be looking at a refresh of sorts. I don't know if it's anytime soon, but at least within the next few years. And I don't know if that's soon for you. And so the Nintendo Switch comes with its caveat. It's 6.5 years old, or 6 years old, 7 years old? Almost 7 years old. The Steam Deck comes with its own because it's older hardware that was its first of its generation, or first of its kind for Steam or Valve. And so the second gen potentially could have fixed a lot of issues the first gen had. Xbox and PlayStation is still lively. PlayStation's getting a refresh. And Xbox, we don't know. Rumors are hitting the mill that Xbox is ditching physical. Whatever, don't care about rumors, so I'm not going to speak into that. But when it comes to the easiest $500-600 spent, I think that if you were to buy an Xbox, it would be the easiest. Now we're getting into my opinion. Xbox is the easiest because, for the most part, it's pretty self-enclosed. You get the Xbox, you get Game Pass, you're going to be playing most of Xbox's offerings. With the fact that they just acquired Activision Blizzard, which could be beneficial for Xbox gamers. If you're into those titles, Diablo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, whatever. So Xbox is $500 gets you in the door and gets you a lot, especially with Game Pass as an offering. PlayStation is always and will always be the most expensive option. I think that through and through, it is pretty fair to say that PlayStation is just the most expensive. Are they the best option? I think they're only the best option for people who love their games. I personally think that PlayStation is my favorite console between the two because the games that are offered to me are the games I want to play. I want to play Ratchet and Clank. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to play God of War. I want to play these games. And these games are beautiful. And they come to PC eventually, but I'm not a PC gamer. So there's that. And two, I don't want to wait for that release on PC, right? I want to play Final Fantasy VII Remake and all the different ones that are coming out for it. And so the PlayStation for me has tremendous value, even though it's so expensive to play on PlayStation. Do I fault PlayStation for that? No, not at all. Not at all, because it shows, right? Their first-party titles are very good. Very good. Xbox's first-party titles are good. I know that's going to ruffle some feathers. But we're in my opinion time, right? I wasn't particularly impressed with the gaming experience that Starfield gave me. I was impressed with what it was, but not the way that the game treated me. And so for the Series X and the PlayStation 5, my money would go into PlayStation 5 because of the games that are available to me. And just that. Hardware, I think the Series X has more power, but the PlayStation 5 I feel like is better with power utilization. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Oh, I guess this is kind of cool about the two. Xbox Series X, you have to purchase proprietary hardware in order to expand the storage to act as if it was internal storage. So they're cards with Seagate or with, I think it's Western Digital. With PlayStation, you just have to buy a heat sink installed, or you can install a heat sink yourself, SSD, and then you just take off a plate, unscrew a screw, 2 screws, plug in this SSD, put the locking screw in, which it shows you if it's a short one, long one, whatever. You just put that, good to go. Put the cover plate back on, and then slide on your external plastic plates, and it's good to go. And so as far as expanding the storage on a PlayStation 5, it's very easy and cheap. And so that is, I guess, a mark in PlayStation and Sony's category. But for some people, they don't like the games, so they would say that it's a waste of money anyway. So that's really up to you. If I was in your position and I had 0 of them, I would go Nintendo Switch. Because I love the Nintendo. No, I'm joking. If I was in your position and I had to make a decision and I didn't have any affiliation with any console, I was coming into it completely blind. 0. Steamdeck would be out because I think that as a gaming console, though it has the most technical versatility, I think that it's clunky. And the turn it on and play video games because I have an hour and a half to play video games before I have to go do something, that type of gaming experience isn't as easily accessible with the Steam Deck. At least that's my understanding. Or that was my experience. Sorry, that's my experience. So Steam Deck's out. Nintendo Switch is too close to the end of the life cycle for me to want to invest $500 into. I can say it. I love Nintendo, but it's so close. I might get a Switch Lite if I was you, but that's out. Xbox would be where I would probably land because of the fact that I buy the console, get Game Pass Ultimate, and I'm good for a while. For a good while. And the neither of those words. The future roadmap, dudes. The roadmap, okay. As this gets colder, it gets a little bit too bright. So I think I need to coarsen it up. So it was a 13. That's so I'm going 14 next time. The roadmap for Xbox is pretty good as far as what we're getting. The roadmap for PlayStation 5 is pretty empty. That's not saying that there's nothing out there, but we don't know. And so if I'm making an informed decision based on the knowledge that I have today, I'd throw $500 at the system. I'd take that $50 additional and I'd purchase a game with it. Something that was exciting to me. And I'd probably go, if I was getting fresh new into this, I would go Series S and save myself $100. I save myself $200. I'd go Series S if I had a 4K TV that was not OLED and it was not over 60 frames per second, and I was going to be playing so that's that. And I'm playing on a couch. Or if I'm sitting at a desk. If I'm sitting at a desk with a 1440p monitor or less, I would go Series S. Boom. If I was at a desk with an OLED monitor, with higher refresh rate, if I was going to be having a gaming den, a good, solid peripherals, insane good, solid peripherals, I would go Series X. That's how I'd go with that. If I was going Series S, dude, I got $200 to spend. I'm buying maybe an additional controller. Maybe just pocketing it and still running the same thing I said, right? And that's kind of where I would go about it. But as far as someone who's coming into it blind with $600 or $550, I love PlayStation, dude. You guys know this. But I would say Xbox is probably the most approachable. PlayStation is the boutique console now. They are. They really are. And I heard a conversation by a youngster, and they were talking about how Nintendo really carried this generation. I don't think so. I think this generation of gaming is unlike we've ever seen before. I don't think that this generation of gaming is carried by any particular console at all, because Nintendo has had some extremely fun titles. Some younger than I would say they were bangers. And I personally have enjoyed the titles that have come out with the Nintendo Switch, but I would not consider it this generation. I would consider Nintendo Switch last generation. And I would also argue that Nintendo, since GameCube, has really not been fighting to be a part of any generation. I think that Nintendo, as it stands, is kind of this universal console that just exists on the desks or in the pockets of gamers across every single type in playstyle, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, right? Steamdeck being a part of that PC gaming experience. And I think that that's really important to take in when it comes to deciding about Nintendo. I think Nintendo should always function independently because they can't carry anything. Their games are too cute, too niche, too nostalgic, and too specialized for any generation to fully be carried by it. Saying that The Legend of Zelda carried this generation when we had stuff like God of War Ragnarok and Starfield is asinine. Tears of the Kingdom, for me, is better than both of those games, and I like it more. But it's borderline ignorant to say that it carried anything at all, right? It's ridiculous. And so when it came to this generation, what I'm saying is unlike anything before. We have three powerhouses that have released incredible titles. Numbers do not equate properly. PlayStation has had less games released on their console than Xbox. But Xbox has had more titles released to their gamers at a cost that is much more affordable than PlayStation. More games on Xbox, less games on PlayStation. PlayStation's games have higher potency, and I would argue more refinement than Xbox. But Xbox has better value. PlayStation is geared towards individuals who are willing to spend $500, $600, $700, $800 on hardware games and additional hardware with very little customization and almost no understanding of what the roadmap looks like. And Xbox gamers stick to one or two franchises and are very, very dedicated. I think it's really important to understand that when it comes to consoles as a whole, right now in 2023, choosing one isn't really coming down to which group am I a part of. If you're trying to be an X-bot, a Sony pony, or any of this nonsense that exists, you lost. You lose. Because the real people who actually dominate this current console generation are people who play video games. To play video games. And couldn't care less about whether or not you're playing on ABXY, BAYX, or X circle, square, triangle. They don't care. They just want to play games. And they want to play them well. And they want to have a good time. That's what we do here. If you like that, Discord, free to everybody. Always. Be a part of the community. None left. So that means no more talking for me. I hope this helped you, bud. A little long-winded. If you guys like this format, let me know in the comments. This is an experiment, but if I'm being honest with you, this is the current format for a good amount of time as my life progresses as a husband, father of 2 kids, and someone who is trying to enjoy video games again. I love making my cup of coffee and spending it with you guys, drinking my first cup of the day, talking about video games in a casual sense, and then almost no editing required because we're just chatting. Really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hug someone that you love and tell them that you love them. And second, most of all, because that first one is the most of all for sure. But secondly, and always, because I've always said it, happy gaming.